Alright, so this is my second attempt at doing like a video for my new YouTube channel. Just again, it's just me ranting on about unscripted for the sake of my own like archival, I guess. So instead of Ruby, I'm gonna be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Right? I talked, I think, a little bit on Twitter the other day about connecting Ruby and Jujutsu Kaisen when it comes to missed potential. Right? Because again, the whole thing with Geku Yakutami's old editor that pushed him to make Jujutsu into a like high school story, where he just wanted to make like a more of a kind of like urban fantasy horror thing, where Nanami was like one of the bad guys, just to show that anybody could be the danger here. It's a really cool idea, which is like kind of the founding principle of the Culling games. I like that. But I make this in the context of chapter 268, I think, being leaked. We still don't have full translations. I still haven't read the whole thing, so I'm not sure about the specifics. So I won't say. I'm not gonna criticize specifically the contents of the chapter because again, I'm not entirely sure about them. And I got about 15 minutes on my food right here, so I got a timer kind of. To say I'm disappointed will be a little bit of an understatement. I feel a little bit similar to the My Hero Academia ending, but it's like similar in a way, but different than others. Because I won't say it's worse. I won't say it's better. Because time needs to pass for me to really decide on that. Because again, we got like 3-4 chapters maybe left after this. Little epilogue. So there's still a little bit more time for character exploration, for character interactions, for a little bit more downtime. Even though I don't really count on Gege, I think it'll be like one last like fight against a special grade curse or something. It's like just a victory lap for the heroes. Probably maybe like a mini merger guy, or I don't know. Again, like first, let me riff on the merger, right? Kenjaku died in probably one of the most unsatisfying deaths for a major villain in a recent shonen. Right? Like people will compare him to Lucifero, but at least Lucifero, like he went out like fighting fucking everyone, right? And he had Lucius just like winding time back after he kills Asta and everyone, just so they can still keep on fighting him, which is why Lucifero was so confused, which is like, what the fuck, I should have killed you, because he did, but then Lucius was just fucking with that, right? At least he has an excuse. Kenjaku doesn't have shit, right? But, and then he just went out saying like, oh, the merger, like, my will live on, like, and everyone was like, oh my god, he has a contingency plan, right? He still has something going. Maybe it's like something related to Sukuna, maybe like his merger still going on, he has like minions and shit. And we were hopeful, right? But then ultimately, at least so far, right before the ending, nothing's come of it. Like, obviously Sukuna never gave a fuck about Kenjaku's plans, and he probably had some beef with Kenjaku in the Heian era, but you know what? We're never gonna fucking see it. We're never gonna get the deal with Kenjaku. We're never gonna get the deal with Sukuna. Like, we just know that, they're bad. And, they were bad a long time ago, too. And now they're back to be bad again. That's all we get. That's all we fucking get. That's all we're ever gonna get, unless we get like some sort of posthumous backstory arc in some like light novel or something. Right? Remember like Jujutsu Kaisen Shippuden, and that's when we get the backstory, right? I don't fucking know, man. But so far, we're not gonna get that fucking backstory. So we're never gonna get the deal with mosquito. We're never gonna know the deal with Sukuna or Kenjaku or legitimately what the fuck was going on back then. We're never gonna get that, and that's fine. I've come to terms with it. That's why I'm not glazing Sukuna. I'm not glazing any fucking villain in Jujutsu Kaisen. Hell, I don't really like any. Actually, I like Geto, like actual Geto, not Kenjaku Geto, the actual one. He was pretty fucking cool. He's probably like my favorite or second favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen. I still haven't decided. Top three is probably him, Gojo, and Yuta. I still haven't decided between them. You know who's also a cool character that people would dick ride on Twitter? Hakari. Is it safe to say that he's now the biggest potential man in Jujutsu Kaisen? Like, yeah, the whole meme was predicated on Megumi, right? But Megumi kind of like posthumously, well, not posthumously, like, indirectly lived up to his potential through Sukuna, right? Because it was thanks to his technique that Sukuna was able to beat Gojo. Because personally, I think if he was in Yuji's body and he didn't have the Shadow Chimera, I'm not sure, but he couldn't summon like Agito or Maharaga. If he couldn't do that shit, he would not have beaten Gojo, not at all. So he's kind of lived up to his potential, at least more than fucking, oh fuck, I forgot Hikari. I legitimately forgot his name for a second. He lived up to his potential more than Hikari. Like Hikari had 2 fights, and then he got off screen. Well, not off screen, but like he was pushed off screen for all of his big climactic final fight. We didn't even get a single chapter just focusing on that fight. Not a single one. Not a single one, bro. Or we could have seen like Uraume just fucking decapitating Hikari over and over and over and over, but he just wouldn't fucking die because he's in jackpot. Like he's fucking dancing and shit. He's just hitting that shit. But no, nothing. Right? And he didn't even get the satisfaction of killing Uraume. They killed themselves at the end. Like that one guy on Twitter said, like, Uraume sensed that Sukuna died, and they were just like, nah, bye. I'm not a massive fan of Hikari, right? So I'm not like personally hurt. I'm just disappointed as a reader, as a fan. Because like, man, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to fucking say, man. It's just so disappointing. It's so fucking disappointing. The whole final arc is disappointing, but you know what? That's the whole thing with Jujutsu Kaisen. It disappoints because you never get, any satisfying character interactions, no exploration, no nothing, just cool fights. But another thing that bothers me about that final fight is, again, I already said on Twitter, like, Yuji just kind of gets his curse technique at the end. Just like, he gets it. All of it at once. And fine, I get it, unlocking a power at the end. I'm a fan of Kamen Rider, right? I love Kamen Rider Kuga. He does, like, generally the same thing, right? They all unlock their final powers at the end. Well, a lot of them unlock their final powers right at the end. Right? We got Majade in Gotchard. She unlocked her powers at the very final moment. And that was cool, right? That was fine. But when it comes to Yuji, he didn't unlock anything up until that point. And you can see how that kind of feels like an ass pull, right? And I don't care. I know that's because he needed it and he awakened it, right? That's not what the issue I have. That's not the issue I have. He should have at least gotten something earlier, like something like a drop. Maybe like he started like realizing he could do something with blood before, right? Obviously, everybody knew he was gonna do it. Like we were all theorizing about it, but show it, like show it happening, bro. Actually, like set it up more. For fuck's sake, man! Don't even get me started on his domain, bro. Because now people are going to be confused. They're like, oh, so that's what he was doing with Choso and with Toto. Did not. Sorry, I got a low battery notification. But people are going to be like, oh, that's what happened with Toto and Choso, right? But no, the fuck it's not. Toto is a crazy person. And he was just asking people what the types of girls are so he could imagine if they would be friends. That's what happened. That's what he was at. That's why he asked Megumi the same fucking thing. Choso, he is probably also a crazy person. But he was sensing the blood relation because obviously they're both Kenjaku's kids with the whole blood room curse thing. Man, I'm gonna take off this fucking hair tie, man. So it's fucking bothering me. But yeah. Gay already said that that's not what Yuji was doing. That they're just crazy people in those scenes. But obviously we can't really trust the word of a mangaka like that, at least not that easily, because Horikoshi said the whole thing about, he was going to reveal Deku's dad, and he never did that shit, which doesn't bother me as much as it does other people, but that's just the point. It's just me explaining why we can't really trust these mangakas a lot, and the shit Gege said about Nobara too, like right, like, man. That's another thing, like Nobara. It's like she had the whole thing where, like, sorry, she had this whole thing of saying like, I don't care how people perceive me. I don't care if they think I'm pretty. I don't think if they think I'm cool. I'm me. I'm Nobara fucking Kugisaki. I'm cool. I'm pretty, and that's what matters to me, right? I don't really care about how I think of myself. That was cool as fuck. Right? And I like that. And I like the whole plot line with Maki. The issue with the Geki Akutami's writing women is that he kind of writes women where, like, he knows sexism and misogyny are a bad thing, but he doesn't really know what they are, and he doesn't know, like, the extent of the misogyny he carries within himself. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, things that you don't know are bad, but you do them anyways because you think it's normal, that kind of stuff. And he just kind of forgets about it, right? Because like, he had the whole thing with Noir, which is amazing, but then she died for shock value in order to further a male character's development. Even though Yuji already had Nanami's death, which was a lot more meaningful, but they just doubled down on it and had Nobara do the same thing. It's like, why? What does this serve Nobara's character? They fridged her for like 2/3 of the show for no fucking reason. Right? Then when she came back, it was for one attack to help Yuji specifically. She didn't have a big comeback fight, no nothing. Like, I'm sure in the epilogue they're gonna have a big trio fight against like a special grade or something. Maybe the remnants of Uzumaki or like a mini prototype merger or something. Like one final victory lap fight as an epilogue. But that doesn't fix that Nobara's big return was one attack to help a male character. Right? And I'm not saying that's the problem, helping a male character. It's the fact that she doesn't really have a character of her own outside of that. Like, she does have like her personality, but not much of a character, which again is a prevailing problem with Jujutsu Kaisen, not just with the female characters. A lot of characters just have like a personality, but not an identity as a character. Like, Nobara's cool, and that's about it. That's what I said on Twitter the other day. Like, y'all saw that. She's cool, that's about it. Just like a bunch of other JJK characters. Just like most of the villains. It's just disappointing, man. It's just disappointing as a fan. Right? Like, I've been with Jujutsu Kaisen since, like, for a while. Like, I got into it when season 1 came out. Because I heard, like, oh my god, Eve is doing an opening? I gotta watch that anime then, because Eve's doing it. And I fucking loved Eve. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I read the manga. I was like, it's alright. It's just okay. It's just okay. And especially now, like, the ending was such a... Not the ending was. The ending is turning into such a wet fart. Like, it's so flaccid, bro. Like, it lacks any fucking impact. It's just a cool fight. And cool fight is also, like, a strong word. Right? Because a lot of these chapters were so fucking interchangeable when they were fighting Sukuna. Especially when it was just Sukuna versus Yuji. A lot of it was so bloated. And yeah, I get it that it was so they could introduce Yuji's like powers, but again, earlier, man, earlier, damn. And then don't even get me started on like Hikari, man. Because like Hikari, like, people were talking shit about Kashimo. At least Kashimo got his big farewell fight. Like, he got to fight against Sukuna at his prime, like, one-on-one, like, how sick as fuck, right? And then he went out. Hikari just got like his whole fight off screen. Hikari fans are never gonna live this down, I'm saying. At least Kashimo fans got the one satisfaction of how he went out. Hikari fans are never getting that shit, man. And honestly good, because they were annoying as hell on Twitter. But again, like, everything just has so many missed opportunities. Like, the Culling games as well, like, you could have had like a mini arc just showing more and more people, like everyday people, discovering their curse techniques and being like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? Exploring who, like, how random people would react to this, right? Kind of like societal study for like 5 chapters maybe. I like what he did with the comedian. I like what he did with the judge. I forgot his name, but he was probably like one of the coolest fucking characters in the whole fucking show, right? Like, I like that. I like the mangaka, like the French guy. That was really cool. Hikari, Kirara, that was really cool, right? But they could have explored that more. Could have done so much more. Like, the whole thing about soldiers being in Tokyo or in Japan, like US soldiers for the Culling games, that went nowhere. Why the fuck waste time introducing it? Waste chapter space, like talking about this, if you're not gonna do anything with it. It went fucking nowhere. Like Kenjaku's whole plan, nothing happened. Why, as an author, would you waste time talking about this? Nothing's gonna happen. And hypothetically, let's say in the last 4, 5, 3 chapters, all right, let's say the U.S. government comes to Japan and it's like, hey, what the fuck was going on? Do you guys still have these powers? What the fuck are we gonna do about this? Right? Maybe they do something like that and like they have to fight the U.S. and fucking Yuji fucking kills everyone. That's my chicken. Probably gonna give it another 5-10 minutes. It's not fully crispy yet, and I like it to be crispy. But like that went nowhere. Obviously, the merger went nowhere. The whole thing with Tengen, which partly is the merger, but it went nowhere. So many things went nowhere, and I'm not mad that that we're not getting the conclusions. I'm mad that like why waste time on that if you're not gonna do anything with it, right? You could have spent those chapters doing anything else, like showing character interactions with like Yuji, Megumi, like better build their friendship so we know what they have before they lose it. So we're more attached to them and we feel more sad when Sukuna invades Megumi and they lose the whole friendship, right? Have that. Have more like calling game like explanation of the whole like the premise, right? Like yes, I get that it's world building, but why do the world building if it's never gonna pan out, if nothing's gonna happen with it? That's like if I wrote a book and I spent like 5 fucking chapters explaining how a country halfway across the world built most of its economy thanks to this one fucking company that succeeded and like built a bunch of factories there or something. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter, right? Why spend time on it? Why the fuck spend time on it? And I want to believe that Gege's a better author than this, but like I hope at the very least that at the end we get like an author's note or like a little essay or something where he just like goes face to face like, hey, things didn't pan out, my editors or Shonen Jump or something, I wanted to do this, it didn't pan out, sorry, right? That would be cool at least, like just to know as a fan that there was something there and it just didn't end up panning out. That would be fine. I would be fine with that, because again, that happens a lot. That happened with Magi, that happened with Bleach, that happens with everything, right? Flip over these fucking tenders. Right, that would have been fine. I would have been fine with that, but no, like as it stands, we just get like nothing. I'm hoping that these final chapters somehow wrap all of it up. Maybe like they bring it up at least. Like they just say, oh, the principals talked it over with them, or we erased their memories somehow. So much could have been there. Another thing, like I talked earlier about Nobara, right? Jujutsu Kaisen, people were always hyping up, oh, JJK has the best female cast. Oh yeah, it's like the fucking Zoro at it, right? But then, obviously we already talked about Nobara getting fridged and then coming back to help Yuji. Maki was pretty cool, like she was fine, right? Although again, it reeks of, I know misogyny is bad, but I don't know what it is, because she just killed her family and that was it, right? No mention of like society, no mention of the culture, no nothing, just her family, as if like that's gonna fix sexism. But that's another thing that's not a theme with Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm not gonna get mad. I'm just like, let's talk about the rest of the female cast. Miwa, right? Not only was she a joke for most of her character, the only time she was taken seriously were 2 times. Once in relation to Mekamaru, which is my favorite emotional moment in the show. It was the only one that actually made me cry when I read it, when she came to terms with Mekamaru's death. But it was just about Mekamaru. It wasn't really about her as a character, all like on her own merits. Then we had that one moment in Color Games where for like a panel and a half, she was shown walking through the city looking badass, and it was like after talking about people becoming monsters, and we were like, oh my god, is Miwa gonna become a monster because like she has nothing left, right? But no, she's just back in school, being her old Miwa self. And then what was her name? The girl that the one that possessed Megumi's sister. and Megumi's sister herself. Like that whole plot. Do I have something here? What the fuck is that? That whole plotline was not really abandoned. It wasn't abandoned at all. Sorry, let me rephrase this. The conclusion to that kind of plotline was very anticlimactic. Because Megumi saw his sister and didn't fucking react at all. He was like, oh, cool, you're back. Anyways, Yuji. Like I get they were under pressure, but he didn't fucking react at all. We could have gone like a look into his head and like what he was feeling. And like, oh my god, thank God. But I need to focus on this. But I can't focus because my sister's right there. I have to talk to her, right? And that's when Sukuna appears. We could have had fucking anything, bro. But nothing. So she was a plot device. She was just a plot device the whole time. Right? And then Utahime exists. I don't know what the fuck she does, but she exists. Mei. And then don't even get me started on Tsukumo, because like she's supposed to be Todo's like mentor, right? How many times did they talk? How many times did Todo and Tsukumo talk in the actual show, like the present? I can't remember a single one, personally. Could you imagine how fucking cool the tag team fight between Todo and Tsukumo could have been? Let it be a flashback, even. I'm also mad that she only got one fight, and that's it. Like, yes, I get it was against Kenjaku. Like, she wasn't gonna win, right? But it was the Culling Games. Could you not have given her a single fucking fight beforehand to show how cool she is? Because she is cool. She's a special grade. She has one of the coolest fucking powers. Like, maybe let's say she got caught in the middle of a sea when the Culling Games just started, right? And then she got jumped by a bunch of random citizens that don't know what to do, and they have these powers they don't know what to do with. Like 10 dudes, like 10 random people, and she just solos fucking everyone. Just give her a cool fucking fight before the final one. And it's not the only manga that like, if I had a nickel for every recently finished popular weekly Shonen Jump battle manga that has really popular anime that's still ongoing, with the manga that recently finished, that had a really fucking cool female blonde character, where she was like hyped up as being like one of the strongest people in the verse. She has one of the coolest fucking powers that can kill fucking a million people, right? And she and then her first fight, her debut battle, is against the main villain, and she dies immediately. I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's cases that happened twice, right? I'm not gonna. Well, everyone knows it's that manga that also had a very unsatisfying ending. And like I said earlier, I won't say if this one's worse or better, but yeah, I'm just very disappointed with Tsukuma's showing, because she could have been so much more, but nah, because we got Gege Yakutami right in this manga. We can't have shit with Gege Yakutami, right? It's just, I really hope these last couple chapters are just characters interacting, coming to terms with everything that happened, and just exploring who they are after everything happened, to contrast with who they are before everything, to show a little bit of development, right? Once they have some time off to really process everything, give them some time to think, give them time to change, right? We got a little time. Focus on that. Don't spend the last final chapters all on one fucking fight, right? You can have them deal with the fact that Gojo's gone. Or fuck, maybe he's back and he just lost the one eye that everyone was theorizing and he was gonna lose. I don't fucking know, man. Explain what Yuji can do. Like, in concrete terms, like, obviously we know he has the soul transfer. We know he has the arm thing. We know he has the blood powers. We know he has the dominating section, and we know he has the sewing sever thing that he got from Sukuno. But like, explain in concrete terms, because Gege Akutami is really good at that. People will tell you he's not, and people will tell you that he's confusing when he explains things, but he's not. He's not. He's really good at explaining things in concrete terms. He's just wordy about it. Like, explain what he can do in concrete terms. Give us the name of his domain expression and what the fuck it can do, like, specifically, right? And then again, potential man Megumi Fushiguro, he's never gonna get that full, like, complete domain expansion, right? Because from what I heard, his cursor technique is at least a little bit impaired or limited thanks to what Sukuna was doing. So we're never gonna get Chimera, like fully realized Chimera Shadow Garden. Imagine how cool that could have been with multiple Agitos, multiple Maharagas. But no. Nothing. Countdown started on the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's coming sooner than we know it. The end is near for this episode and Jump, man. We got Undead Unluck picking up the torch. Sakamoto Day is doing crazy numbers. Akane Banashi's doing great. Blue Box is doing great. Nue's Exorcist is doing surprising, even though no one's reading it, as far as I know. But obviously Kagurabachi is the one that's like the big face right now, the new guy. And I'm happy with that. I'm hopeful for what's coming in the future. And I'm happy Jujutsu Kaisen fans are finally going to shut the fuck up.